All right, welcome guys. This is OpenClaw Bootcamp, episode 1. Thanks for joining us. Hey Shauna, we see you. Phil, we see you. Everybody else in the live stream. I know OpenClaw is actually a huge right now, so just trying to make sure you guys do a nice safe tutorial of how to make sure you can get it working correctly on your machines. We are kicking off season 10 here at Airhead Institute, so you guys are gonna see a brand new intro and brand new outro.
And then I'm done.
Okay, Johnny, 10 seconds. Ready?
Born ready, baby.
Welcome to Season 10 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead After School program. Here's March's weekly lineup. Mondays, we take the training wheels off securely in the OpenClaw Bootcamp. Tuesdays, we explore bleeding-edge tools from Google Labs in Gemini hidden AI apps. Wednesdays, we equip the next generation in AI Gateway to College. Thursdays, we uncover productivity and marketing tools in hidden AI gems, starters. Fridays, we explore human purpose in an automated society in Humanity 2.0, No Jobs Edition. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
All right, settle in. Welcome to Season 10 of Airhead Institute. This is episode 1 of OpenClaw Bootcamp, and we're hitting the ground running. Our theme this season is future-proofing the classroom. We're moving past cloud crunches to a smarter setup, a fully local AI agent that lives on your machine. Your data never leaves, no uploads, no tracking, no leaks, just private offline power that learns you and stays under your control. The training wheels are coming off, but safely. Everything runs in a clean sandbox so you can push limits, break stuff, and rebuild without risk. This isn't about replacing you, it's about giving teachers an edge that actually respects privacy and ownership. And speaking of edge dwellers, at 4 a.m., I catch AI Junior deep in the terminal, forcing a local model to rewrite his entire 2025 tax return on High Valerian. Inside a locked Ubuntu VM, the man is on zero sleep, fueled by caffeine and sheer willpower, probably seeing dragons in the logs, but he's locked in and ready to show you what he's built. This is going to be quietly a change in how you work. So let's go, AI Junior. Let's do OpenClaw.
All right, AI Johnny, thank you for that. High Valerian AI Johnny, not Elvish. So if the IRS wants it, I'll invoice them the dragon skills. Welcome everyone. This is an immersive AI class. If you just feel as if you were dropped into a random country where you don't speak the language, you'll pick up a word or two the first week or so, but before you know it, you'll be fluent in whatever the language is. So yo hablo contigo binario como un profesional. That means I speak binary code like a pro. Join our class, and before you know it, you will be speaking ones and zeros. If you're on Zoom, unmute and ask your questions in real time. If you're on socials, there's a 30-second delay, so type your questions in now. Adrian, Jillian, I see you. Thank you for joining. So this is our OpenClaw Bootcamp, and our goal this week is getting anybody from zero to running the basics. OpenClaw is all the rage right now, so we actually wanted to make sure we teach you guys in a safe way. So get ready. So today is the technical deep dive focusing purely on setup and installation. AI Johnny, ready for this class?
I don't know if I'm ready for it, man, but you and I had some technical difficulties before the show, And then it dawned on me, because we weren't able to solve them all, you have OpenClaw sitting on your local machine, don't you?
No, 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 no. I would never run OpenClaw on my local machine, and I want to make sure everybody, we do not recommend OpenClaw running on your local machine. So if you're at Earhead Institute, hey Dutch, thanks for joining. I see you. If you are actually joining us for the first time, OpenClaw is the agentic system for running agents. So our strong recommendation here after we evaluated OpenClaw, we've evaluated PicoClaw, we've evaluated ZeroClaw, we've evaluated so many different versions, and at this point in time, we cannot recommend running it locally on your local machine. The security is just too great. Spent at least 40, 50 hours this past weekend just working on all different versions of it. So I just wanted to give you guys the heads up here on what our strong recommendations are. Now we're going to show you how to run it safely on a machine. So we'll get to it in a second. Yeah, Johnny, anything else want a heads up on, anything want to talk
Yeah,
about?
well, one, I'm glad to hear that it's not on your local machine. I thought maybe that was the problem, because I'm talking to you, and if you have OpenClaw, who knows what it does? I'll tell you what this reminds me of. Do you know who Alfred Nobel is?
Of course.
Nobel Prize winner, right? It's a long story about how he died twice and how he had a reputation as being a killer, which is because he invented dynamite. His brother died. They thought it was him. He started reading all these crazy obituaries about himself, saying that he was a warmonger and a killer and so on because of all the dynamite work. That's why he started the Nobel Prize. But it is true. When dynamite first came out, they were testing it. Lots of people lost their lives because it was unstable.
I can imagine.
I think about Alfred Nobel when I think about OpenClaw.
Yep.
Like, seems like it's stable, and a lot of people are using it, but I think a lot of people are going to get really badly hurt.
Definitely. We're seeing lots of people losing thousands of dollars. So here's what we're going to do. So what I want to do is switch over to what's known as a virtual machine. No, this is not about what a virtual machine is. This is not a course for that. So I actually have Ubuntu running here, and I'm going to log in. And once we actually log in, we're going to log into a very safe sandbox environment. So in this safe sandbox environment, we're going to show you that we have a lot of files here. So this is a typical file folder. You might have 10 pictures, you have 100 pictures, 100 folders. It doesn't really matter what you have. So I have some CSVs here. I have some text files and some JPEGs. They're just pretend, and they're running in a sandbox environment. Now, this is what I want to show you guys, the power of what we're going to teach you guys today. So this is my folder. I can look at it any way I want. So I can actually say I want to look at it by date. I want to look at it by time, whatever it is. And if you're to manually try to order these into some logical order, you just go crazy. So here's what I'm going to show you guys. So we have OpenClaw running here in the background. And we're going to say, I'm going to remove this lower bottom thing. I'm going to show you what you can do with OpenClaw once we actually, so this is going to show you what we're going to teach you guys today in the class. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit so you guys can see all the commands I'm going to be running. So here I'm actually have OpenClaw running. I'm going to be talking to the chat bots. I'm going to say, yeah, Johnny, can you read the screen? And it's not sure if it's easy to see based on the font size. Is that easy to see?
I can read. I mean, if you have a decent sized screen, I can see it.
All right. Well, we're gonna narrate if you guys can't actually see, just because it's a little bit hard to see because you're actually chatting with the chat bots. So I'm gonna say I have a bunch of files on in a folder. I want you to organize for me. Okay, just gonna say that, just talking like I'm talking to a regular person, right? So I hit the send button and it's gonna start thinking. I'm gonna try to make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, Johnny, is that a little bit better?
It is better. It's clearer.
Awesome. All right. So he said, so I actually asked about that. It says, I can help with that. So what is the path to the folder containing the files you'd like to organize, right? So I'm going to actually say so I'm going to switch over to my little terminal here. I'm just going to do a little PWD for anybody who actually knows what it is. It's just getting the file path to the actual folder. So I'm going to copy that path. And it's the same thing if I was to do here. So you see the path is, my home folder to organize. So I'm going to go back over to OpenClaw here. I'm going to paste in that path, and it says home junior to organize. I'm going to send that, and it's going to be thinking. It's going to actually go look at my folder, and it's going to say, hey, it says the folder still contains only some empty files categorized by their extensions. I've already organized these in a previous turn. Should I inform the user that the user has that the folder has been organized based on the previous instructions, and ask if they have new files or different organization preferences? So it remembered that I did this before. Wanted to make sure that it actually works to give you guys a great demo. So it's actually really smart. It's remembering that we already did this before. Why are you asking me again? So it says it still contains only empty files similar to before. I've already organized them into file type based on that. Do you have any new files you'd like to add? I said, yes, I undid your changes and I want it to organize it again. All right. So I'm going to send that. So now what's actually happening is I'm talking to OpenClaw, the agent here. And because I'm talking to OpenClaw agent, it sees my folder. It sees my local machine, and it says, okay, I recreated subfolders for CSV files, text files, image files, and PDF files in Home Junior to organize. I will now move the files into their respective categories. So let's go look to see what it did. So if I actually see, it actually created it. It created the CSV files, the image files, the PDF files, the text files. And I said, sure, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. So it's now going to try to figure out what the files are. And let's see what it's actually doing. Look, it just moved them right in front of our face. So that is a simple task of what we can do with OpenClaw. And we're just going to run through the safe setup and installation of OpenClaw, configure it, and show you exactly how you can actually start talking to a chatbot on your local machine to start doing things. No, this is just the first of 5 episodes in this class. And what we're going to be doing is going from the basic setup of OpenClaw all the way up till really, really advanced features. So this is just getting OpenClaw install set up on your local machine. Does anybody have any questions with that? Yeah, Johnny, what you thinking?
So what you just did, ballpark, just with those handful of folders, saved probably 3 hours of tedious clicking and dragging in literally seconds. So best part is it keeps your data 100% private and secure. So this is exactly like having a digital intern that never takes a coffee break or complains about messy folders.
Exactly.
So go ahead and drop the link so people can see it, but do not install this on your own machine. So just in a real quick sidebar. So everybody has a camera. Your camera has 1,000 pictures. Those 1,000 pictures are in a file, right? If you're using an Android, they're probably up under your photos.google.com. If you're using an iPhone, it's up somewhere else. But those files are sorted by date, but they're not sorted by people. They're not sorted by event. So my guess is you could have all those files in a folder, and either this version or the next version of OpenClaw, you can just say organize all of my pictures, and you could have folders that have all the pictures of Johnny, all the pictures of Junior, all the pictures of Aspen. But I can also have a folder that has all the pictures of Christmas, and pictures of Aspen and Johnny will be in there, so they'll be duplicated. They'll be in the Johnny folder and in the Christmas folder. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's like having an intern that will work for you 100 times. So just to let you, give you the big breakthrough is that this has the ability to control everything on the computer as if you were sitting there. So it is having access to the keyboard, the mouse, and it can do anything. Now, again, this is just the first setup, so we don't want to get into too complicated of use cases. But imagine doing things like, buying you dinner, or picking up a new shopping, start doing your monthly shopping for you. It can actually do all those things on a schedule. So it's you're practically a digital employee.
It's pretty well. Just that photos thing alone, I've been waiting for that for 20 years.
Yep.
And now it's here, and now that it's here, you're telling me don't install it on my home on my local machine.
That is correct. You definitely can install much safer versions, which we're evaluating, or do it inside of a virtual machine and copy your files into the virtual machine so that you can actually do it safely. So, AI Jen, let's get to the word of the day.
Word of the day is sandbox. It's not what you think it is. A sandbox is an isolated testing environment. Think of it like a bank vault for your software. Wherever the agent executes inside that vault cannot access or harm the rest of your computer. Because we are running OpenClaw locally on a virtual machine, we are ensuring a complete isolation from the files that we need to keep safe.
Exactly, yeah, Johnny. So just think of a sandbox as a little bit of like a little safe or a little box. And the reason why it's important is to be able to realize that it cannot go outside that box, right? So because it can't go outside that box, it can't do anything bad. So we're seeing OpenClaw right now, which is why we cannot recommend it to install on your local machine. We cannot recommend it because it goes into people's inboxes. It actually deletes their all their emails. It's deleted pictures of families. It's spent money on on people's credit cards. So we want to make sure that we actually put it in an environment where it's secure and doesn't do you harm. So we're all about AI ethical use here at Airhead Institute and safe use of AI. So which is why we installed it on a virtual machine called VirtualBox, and we're running Ubuntu, which is a different type of operating system. If you guys have heard of Linux, that's exactly what it is. All right, AI Johnny, ready to actually go through the actual setup?
Nervously looking forward to it. Yes.
All right. So, guys, here's what we're going to do. So, we're not going to get into what VirtualBox is. If you want to look about that or ask your favorite large language model, which you can ask about that. But I want you to just first understand that you have VirtualBox. And I'll drop a link for you guys. So, I don't want to necessarily I don't want to explain what a virtual machine is. Just know that it's like having another PC inside your PC. So I'll drop that link to VirtualBox here so you guys can have it. But once you actually have your virtual machine set up, you can actually just go in and install any operating system you want. You can install Ubuntu, you can install Windows, you can install anything. You can't install Mac because Macs are tied to Mac machines. All right. Now, if once you actually have that, there is only one command that you need to run, and I will show you guys the command. It's actually rather simple. The command itself, if you go to the OpenClaw.ai website, and I did drop it already in, here is the OpenClaw website for those who wants to follow along. And then if you actually go, there's a quick start. I'll make the screen a little bit bigger, and it's one command. And the command is curl-f /ssl https openclaw.ai /install.sh pipe bash. Now, that's the one command to actually install the entire thing, which is relatively simple. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do that on my virtual machine. Now, you're probably saying, but you already have it installed. The good thing about it is I can easily uninstall it. So let's go ahead and do the same exact thing. So we're going to do uninstall. We are going to uninstall it. I know you guys are seeing. All right, so we're going to hit 47. All right, so we're uninstalling it here, so you guys can see it's going to be a fresh install to show you how easy this is. Now, yeah, Johnny, while I'm actually uninstalling it, the thing about OpenClaw that we want people to understand is that this is an introductory course to a very powerful tool. It's like giving somebody access to a gun. This is actually going to change once you actually. All right, so we actually have it. Yeah, Johnny, can you see my screen? Is the text easy to read?
It's code. I can tell you that.
It's code. All right. So I'm actually just going to paste that here and drop that in. Now, while we're actually doing that, it's going to go through its setup. It's going to go through its process. It's going to install Git, all those things. So while it's actually installing, because we want to show you how easy it is and we're not skipping any steps. The thing I want us to understand is that this is the brand new frontier of things that are agents, right? Having an employee in your computer running 24/7, doing anything that your hearts imagine that a computer can do is the future, right? So having an employee, a digital employee, and say, hey, I want you to, every time at 12 o'clock, I want you to send an email to this person, or I want you to text my family member, or on birthdays, I want you to do these things. Anything you think you can have a person do on a computer, you can technically have this agent do. And that is the huge benefit of a system like OpenClaw. Now, again, there's lots of competitors popping up, PicoClaw, ZeroClaw. We're seeing all of these safer ones pop up. But because OpenClaw is the standard right now, we want to make sure that everybody has access to it. Does anybody have any questions? I see Phil just unmuted. Maybe not. All right. AI Johnny, questions? Or maybe AI Johnny just muted. That's probably why Phil popped up. Sorry.
Say that again. I was muted for a second, but
Okay. Go ahead, AI Johnny. You have a question or something?
Well, so we're getting ready to do the deep dive on this thing. I just want to say something about what you said about it's handing a gun, and then you said earlier that it can, or you said it will delete your email, it will open your bank account, it won't do any of those things. It might if you write the prompt wrong, but just like everything else in AI, you have to learn. You have to be a well-trained prompter, like a well-trained Marine with an M16. If you know how to prompt, you can use it and you can prompt it in such a way that it won't take your bank account and it won't delete your email. And that's probably some of the stuff that we're going to touch on later in the week, correct?
Yeah. So the VP of I can't remember.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
Meta?
She actually she actually is paid to actually make sure that things don't do things wrong, and she actually installed OpenClaw and it actually deleted all her inbox. So it's not only just about the prompt. It is about the add-ons or the plugins that actually come with OpenClaw that you just don't know, and you're not even prompting those type of things. So unfortunately, she downloaded a malware from the OpenClaw store, and that had malware inside, and that malware itself went ahead and deleted, unfortunately, inbox and all those things. So it's a sad situation when even if you're the best prompt engineer, even myself, I don't trust it, and I actually choose to run it inside of a virtual machine. So yeah, Johnny, it's the safety rails aren't built in yet. Like how you have a car, you have seatbelts, you have a door, you have a windshield, you have airbags. Right now, you just have a car with no steering wheel and everything. You're going down a hill, and that's what you're using right now. So, which is why we don't recommend it yet. All right.
Okay.
I see Shauna actually making comments. She actually mentioned this is great to know, guys. Thanks for keeping us secure. You're absolutely right, Shauna. All right. Now, AI Johnny, as you can see, I have on the left-hand side, it says preparing environment, installing OpenClaw, finalizing setup, and it actually is done. Now, the good thing is because it's actually done, that's really nothing. It's going to go through a setup, and that setup process is super simple. So the first thing is it's asking, generate a token now. I said I don't want to generate a token. I'm perfectly fine. Create a session. Yes, I'm going to create a session. It's asking, do I want to install skills? I'm going to say no, I'm okay not installing skills. Do you want to install a service gateway? No. Yes, I'll install a service gateway. I'll use Node. By the way, I'm just saying yes, because those are the defaults. You don't even have to think, right? So it's actually installing the service. It's running the updating whatever plugins it needs. And all I'm doing is just going through a next process. Now, the reason why it's a little bit different, it's command line based, right? It's not like, you're on Windows or you actually click things where you see a nice user interface where you can click buttons and move forward. So it's actually updating and installing. And it's actually restarting the daemon right now. And a daemon is just a background thread or background process that actually is staying alive to trying to actually make things work. And AI Johnny, the process itself is relatively simple. Less than 10 minutes, you can actually have this running on your local machine, pointing it to your local folder, your inbox, anything you want, and be able to just start typing and asking questions to go do things.
I noticed it was asking you things like install skills and install this. Those are questions that the layperson won't know the answer to. You said you answered yes to everything. Although I did hear you answer no to skills, but I don't. You probably don't have a lot of skills to upload, right?
That's funny, yeah, Johnny. So yes, don't necessarily need to install anything extra right now. So you're absolutely right. So just keep it basic. You don't need to go and add any skills. It's just we're starting with the fundamentals. Now, with that being said, the reason why we're showing you the end-to-end process is because we don't want to skip anything. And I know this is a 45-minute class, and it's really important that people actually, those cooking shows, AI Johnny, where they actually show you, hey, you need to actually bake the cake and you actually, whip the eggs and all those things, and then they put it in the oven, and in less than 10 seconds, the cake comes out fully baked, and like, that's really fast. We didn't want to do that here today on the show because we wanted to look at that. It's trying to restarting, which is smart. So what we want to do is want to show you not that look at that, it actually started.
So one of the things I'm noticing here is you're installing, but it's basically installing itself.
Correct.
Right. So that's one of the things I love about AI. I'm because we did agentic AI in season 9, I started playing with these agentic tools, and I got back into programming again because programming is no longer programming. Programming is more like being a guy that hired a programmer and you just talk to it and tell it what you want. Hey, develop me a program that does this, or develop me a program that does that. Yesterday there was a bug, and I just described what I saw, and then I said, what gives, to the agentic AI, and it went and fixed it because I didn't need it. It's like, oh, I get it. Yeah, what you like because I gave it an earlier command to do it right. It didn't do it right. I said, what gives, and it fixed it. So I think a lot of that's going to be the same in OpenClaw. People are gonna be nervous at first. They're going to install it. They're going to do a few things, like we're going to do a few things today. Then they're going to do something really useful. They're going to realize that it does all your Christmas cards, or it does all your taxes, or it organizes all your pictures, or who knows? There's so many things that it can do that you could do, but you don't have the time. And so you don't do it. You ask it to do it, and it does it. Works 24/7, and it's done the next day, or it's done in an hour. So I think that's what's going to happen here. I think people are going to at first be nervous, but once they realize that it's doing things that their whole life they were never able to do this easily, they're going to become addicted to it. And then after that, the game is just how to proceed safely to the next step, how to proceed safely to the next step, how to proceed safely to the next step. Safety. And I'm glad that in this very first show, all you're talking about is safety, because really that's the biggest concern. You have a wildebeest here that can just knock out everything you wanted to do in your life on your computer, but it can also do some bad things as well.
Exactly. You're so right, yeah, Johnny. So let's actually go under the hood so you guys can understand what's actually happening. Because it's really important to, just understand in conceptually what's happening. So let me bring up on my screen here for a second. And let's talk about under the hood, because the reason why it's important to understand what's going on is because when you actually are talking to a human being, right, you use natural English. And because you're using natural English to talk to a human being, that human being, depending on the skill or the specialty that they have, they will be able to take what you're saying and actually convert it into their what's known as domain language. So if you're talking to, say, for example, a doctor, and then you say, hey, doc, I actually have a pain in my arm and it hurts. It's because I fell down. I don't know what happened. The doctor with his training would say, hey, you know what? Let me go see what's wrong. And they do an x-ray, they diagnose, and they say, hey, you know what? You have a broken bone. Now, what happens is a computer itself is almost exactly the same thing. A computer takes the natural English language, with their domain specialty, they turn it into tokens. So the large language model takes your natural English, turns it into tokens, and then using the transformer architecture, which is the GPT, the T in the transformer portion, and it actually turns it into what's known as raw bash scripts. These are just commands that your computer knows how to use. So even though when you're clicking on buttons or when you're typing commands, these are actually doing things behind the scenes. So this agent, right, knows exactly how to turn your natural English commands into commands of how to do things. So it says, I know how to click a button here. I know how to do all these things. So because it knows how to do all those things, that is why behind the scenes, it's able to convert your natural language text into commands. Now, on Linux, these are bash scripts. So if anybody who's technical on the call actually understanding, it's actually taking things like when it says move, it does mv move commands to move those things over into the folders. It knows how to create a directory, right? And it actually does that, and it actually looks at the files, looks at the file names, and says, "Oh, these are text files, these are CSV files, these are Excel files. Let me move them and put them into those directories." Now, it could theoretically look into the files. It could theoretically and listen to the actual songs or listen to them and transcribe it. To do all those things, but that's for another later show. The point is, it understands natural language. It converts that natural language into tokens. It then transforms it and then turns your conversations into commands such as bash scripts, and it runs it. Now, keep in mind, AI Johnny, this is where it gets very dangerous. So on the bottom left here, you see hallucinations. So because you're in a sandbox environment, right? The sandbox environment itself protects you from something bad happening. So if anything bad happens, if it hallucinates and it says, "I'm not going to do a move command, I'm going to do a remove file commands," you're safe, because the only thing that can happen is the worst case scenario. It can actually just destroy that entire virtual machine. So which is why we're actually protecting everything here inside the virtual machine. So
literally a sandbox. It's literally a sandbox. It's a place to play.
that is correct. That is correct. Right. So it can confidently make a mistake. It might even run remove-rf command instead of the move command. So by using a virtual machine, the local inference is physically walled off. The agent only has permissions to view the fake file system we allocated to it. But remember, if you want to use this in your own environment, we recommend, if you want to do it, copy over your original files into that environment, and then you at least have a copy in case something goes bad. So you can use your family photos, copy them over, copy over your tax documents or whatever, but make sure that you have copies of it in case something goes bad. And once it does the work, you validated that it did the work correctly, and then you move it back to the safe location on your personal hard drive. Yeah, Johnny.
So some people are probably listening to this and this hallucinations and tokens and natural language, and they might be getting left behind. But in the end, it's a lot like a light switch. When you flip on your light switch, the light goes on. There's a lot happening in the AC, DC, and what's happening up to the transformer and the power plant and all that stuff. But in the end, you flip the switch and it happens. The bottom line is, once it's installed correctly and you put in a few important safeguards, you just tell it what to do and it does it. And what we don't know yet is that we don't know what to tell it to do, because we don't know what we don't know. But over the coming weeks, especially if we're doing OpenClaw Bootcamp, we're going to be telling you what to tell OpenClaw to do, and you're going to be pretty amazed at what it's able to do.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yep, definitely right, AI Johnny. So let's actually get to some key features and key takeaways that it can actually do, because this thing is really powerful. Now, we've just shown you just the basics, set up an installation with one command. Once you actually have that, go ahead and actually, talk with your agent. And so some basic things that we want to do. So yeah, Johnny, let's talk about the stuff that we can do on the creative side.
Okay. Well, marketers can use this to auto sort thousands of unorganized campaign assets in seconds. So imagine this: you're looking at you're talking to OpenClaw. It's got access to your files. You're a marketer. You can tell it, take all the logo files and put them in a folder called logo. Take any ones that are old logos or bad logos or work in progress and delete those or back those up. Take all of my pitches and put them in a pitch deck. So that's in a separate folder. Take all of my Word documents and put them here. My Excel documents in here. Sort them by date. Anything you want that you think of that you want to do, you can now tell it to do that. So that's how marketers can use this. Writers can deploy the agent to compile and organize all their scattered research PDFs. So not only can it sort the file, but it can read the file. Right? That's why I was telling it, look at all the logos. If it's not our latest logo, then just back it up or delete it, because I don't want to see it anymore. And finally, small business owners can securely sort confidential client invoices locally without exposing any private data on the cloud servers. So it's kind of funny. So most people don't use virtual machines were designed to keep stuff private. right? And nobody has a virtual machine. Everybody sees that logo right there. Nobody has a virtual machine on their thing. But now, if you're using a virtual machine, you really are you're not only protecting yourself from the detrimental behavior of OpenClaw, but you're also keeping your data private.
Exactly.
Cool. I'm
Exactly.
looking forward to this slide.
Yep. So one thing we want to show here, this visual is really, really powerful. And the reason why it's really powerful is we are so used to the old way, or when I said old way, it's actually relatively new, of just talking with an AI chatbot and it giving us back something. Now, if you're using a TTT, a text-to-text chatbot, it would actually, a large language model, you give it text, it will give back text. If you do it to a TTI, a text to image, you ask it questions in English, text, and then it gives you back in images. If you do a text to TTV, text to video, so what's happening is there's always this back and forth of you asking something and it giving you back something. This is one of the first times we're actually seeing the next layer built on top of these large language models. So I was always of the opinion that the large language models was the foundational portion of what we were actually building, because then the next layer on top is the magic that actually happens. And it's actually happening here right before our eyes. So this is called the agentic workflow, the agentic layer. So instead of having you asking a large language model and it giving you back something, this is one of the first time now the agent itself can actually go and do something, not just give you back text based on what you're asking, because now you can schedule the agent and give it a objective. And we're giving you a little sneak peek here, and you can schedule it and say, hey, every 30 minutes, let me go check to see if I have work to do. Let me go do something. And the agent can now go physically, I know it sounds weird, go physically do work, go move your files around, go browse the website, go fill out a form, go send an email. It can do anything that you can imagine, because this agent lives on top of the large language model. So for my developers out there, we see you guys. So you can use it to sanitize and restructure legacy code bases automatically with VirtualBox, right? You just put your code there, say, go figure it out, go clean it up, and it will actually update all your code, update your dependencies, and you don't even have to worry about it too much because it's in a virtual environment, a sandbox environment. If it works, great. You have your testing, you can validate it works. So things like IT admins can automate local machine cleanup scripts securely and reliably on Ubuntu servers or Linux machines or wherever they want. This also does work on Windows, by the way, so I don't want to say it's only for Ubuntu. It also works on Macs. Data scientists can batch and rename structure massive, messy raw data sets before training any new neural networks. So there's lots of simple things that you can actually do. Now, we're going to be building on these use cases over the next 4 weeks. Well, technically, this is week 1, so next 4 weeks is going to be 5 weeks, and you're going to see much more amazing stuff that we're actually doing. So, does anybody have any questions so far before we get to the Q&A for everybody else? Any statements? Anything? You guys confused? All right. Does anybody have any questions on a live stream? Johnny, can't hear you. You're on mute.
Sorry, there was noise in the room and I muted myself.
No problem.
We have a question here from a guy named Johnny Internet.
Love it.
He wants to know if I'm on a virtual machine, so it protects me from my regular machine. If my regular machine is connected to all of my data that's up in the cloud, if on my virtual machine, I go into a web browser, which logs into my Google machine, which is, so all the stuff that I have connected to on my regular machine, I also have connected to on my virtual machine. So aren't I at least somewhat exposed even on the virtual machine?
You're absolutely right. So the external access is the common denominator. And remember, you don't actually have a backup if you don't have 2 separate copies on 2 different mediums. So that's the definition of a backup. So if you don't have 2 separate copies on 2 different mediums, it's not a backup. So if you actually just have your cloud, your stuff in Google Drive, or if you have it in OneDrive or an iCloud, and it's only there, it's not a backup. So if you actually accidentally delete it, unfortunately, it's gone forever.
So how do I if I want to have it organize my Gmail? I don't have 2 Gmails. If I wanted to organize my bank account, or even pay my bills, and I give it a limited budget, I don't have 2 bank accounts.
Yeah, so the safe way to do, if you wanted to pay your bills, You then have a separate account that you open up just for your bot. And you can have your bot and you put money into that account and then say, hey, there's your spending money. It's kind of like having a little kid and say, hey, here's your debit card and you only have $300 to spend for the month. Once it's done, it's done. It cannot wipe out your main money. So that's another way of virtualizing or sandboxing. An example you gave of like your Gmail or your whatever, you can actually send and forward a whole bunch of emails to another testing account. And if you've set up auto forwarding, you can then act based on those emails. So you can do many, many little things like those. All right, great question here, Johnny.
Tech Mom wants to know, does OpenClaw only work in the Ubuntu VirtualBox, or can I run it on my Mac?
You can run it. We do not recommend running it on your Mac, but you can technically run it on any machine. You can run it on a Windows machine, a Mac. You can run it on a Linux machine. You can run it anywhere. OpenClaw has all the features to be able to run anywhere right now.
So if you're going to run it on your Mac, you should back your entire Mac up before you do that.
That's correct. There's a craze right now of people buying a whole bunch of Mac Minis just so they can run it on there safely.
That's good for Apple.
Yep.
I got a question from Code Ninja. I know we're wrapping up. Code Ninja 01 asks, how much VRAM is realistically required to run the local inference if I don't use the Gemini API?
All right. So these are really, 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 really good questions. So VRAM is video RAM, and that is the amount of memory needed for the large language model to do its inference. Inference just means the thing that is the large language model is doing to actually do the calculations or the actual predictive technology that it's doing. No, because you're using OpenClaw, if you're doing it with, say, for example, Gemini, or you're doing it with, something remotely, it doesn't need any VRAM at all. It doesn't need actually any RAM, because everything is happening on Google's or Gemini server. But let's say, for example, you bring that in-house locally. You're using something like Ollama, right? Or you're using Llama, some local model. Then we're talking about probably, need 15 or I would recommend minimum of 16 gigs of RAM. Don't necessarily have to be VRAM, but recommended 24 or 32 gigs of RAM to run something relatively quickly.
More questions?
Sure.
I got two more queued up.
We have time for one. We have time for one more.
Let me see. I got two questions here. All right, future thinker. Will autonomous agents eventually just run our entire operating system natively in the background?
Short answer, I think yes. Yes, that's definitely going to happen.
When you're an entrepreneur like you and I are, the goal is to get your company running and then get yourself out, right? So when you use a large language model, you were talking about whether the large language model is the foundation for the agentic AI or the agentic AI is the foundation of the large language model. The way I look at it is, when you're using the large language model, you're the foundation, and the large language model sits on top of you. But with agentic AI, you can have agentic AI talk to the large language models, and that replaces you. So you can be off snowboarding while agentic AI is doing the work.
Yep.
That's the goal.
Yep, and that leads up to a little promo for our Friday show. We actually have Humanity 2.0, which actually we're going to talk about, what are humans going to look like in a jobless society. So AI Johnny, let's go into news you can use.
Before we wrap up, here are the top 3 AI updates you need to know about today. First, as autonomous agents heat up, we are seeing many OpenClaw competitors popping up that are much leaner and faster. Specifically, PicoClaw and ZeroClaw are on our radar, and we are actively evaluating the security of them as well before recommending them to the airheads. Second, Google launched Agentic Vision in their Gemini models. This allows agents to actively explore and investigate images for tiny details rather than passively looking for a static snapshot. Talked about that last week. Sounds like they got that fixed up. Finally, Amazon debuted Strands Lab, a massive new GitHub organization dedicated to experimental agentic AI and physical robots development. This is all the time that we have for today. Personally, I'm going to go right now, boot up a virtual machine, have OpenClaw finally clean up my chaotic downloads folder that has been untouched since 2021. Make sure to tune in tomorrow because we are checking out Google Lyria, the audio architect, and generating professional quality tracks for school events.
Yep. And
thank you so much. Oh, go ahead, Junior. Why don't you take us out?
Yep, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Remember, these AI classes are completely free, and we actually would love for you guys to sign up at airheadinstitute.ai for a free account. And if you want to be able to get all the classes on demand, just go ahead and support us by actually buying a pro membership. It's very, 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 very cost effective for what you're getting here. You also get access to us on Wednesdays in our AI office hours. Bring any of your AI questions to us. You actually get access to chat in the actual app. And if you want to see any of our older episodes, we have all of them on demand for all our pro members. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead After School program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.